Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of your favorite sports podcast from the ground up. And let's get right to it. Let's get right into the thick of things. We got so many things to talk about. I know I've been kind of hitting y'all over the head lately with interviews, but right now we're going to get back to basics with just me talking to y'all and, letting y'all know what's going on and in the NBA and just all my opinions and everything that's happening. There's so much, like I said, going on right now. We got playing games going on. We got final seeding coming up for the actual playoff. We got playoff matchups coming up towards the end of the week. So I just want to let y'all know that since it is playoff time, I'll probably be hitting y'all with more episodes more frequently, just because there's a game or games, I should say, every couple of days. So I want to make sure that I stay current. So be on the lookout for more episodes, basically more good content and more of your favorite sports podcast, because you need it and you ain't got nothing else to do but watch me. So let's get right into it. Let's get right into the thick of things, the game that is going on literally behind my head. Now, I'm not going to lie to y'all. I was going to come on here and talk shit, and I was going to have like this big production, and I was going to, talk trash to the Warriors because, I mean, as much as respect as I've been giving the Warriors lately, I'm a Bron fan all day, every day. Y'all know this about me by now. So anytime that LeBron gets an advantage over Steph and the Warriors, it's a bragging point for me. But I'll be honest. This game in particular, it wasn't the Lakers' best showing. It wasn't the best showing for Braun either, especially like in a pressure situation. As far as, I guess it's different because it's a play-in, but it's implications of the playoffs, and you definitely don't want to lose this game and have to play for the eighth spot, because then it puts you kind of on your heels, and you're already a team that's recovering from a lot of injuries and things of that nature. So I definitely was not. I mean, it's different, but like I said, this is not a game that you want to lose. So I'm definitely glad that they won. I definitely was talking shit to some Warriors fans, but it was lighthearted compared to what it normally would have been. Basically, in so many words, like if it would have been a blowout, I would have came on here so ignorant. But it wasn't. It was a close game. It could have went either way. Honestly, the Warriors played like the better team throughout. The Lakers didn't. It didn't really start cooking for them until they had to kind of put the pedal to the metal, and it was the game was starting to get to a point where it might have been out of reach. So they turned it up at that particular point, but I don't know. Like there's a lot of people that said that they have concerns about the Lakers. I do and don't. I do because, like I said, they just played so bad, like so bad, and it's like they are a team that, like I said, most of their players were injured throughout the year, so they are recovering from a lot of injuries. So like I understand that aspect of it. So that's why I'm not trying to like super overreact, but at the same time, it's kind of like this. I don't have the same confidence in this team that I had in the team last year, but it's still early. And it is a 7-game series that they're entering coming up, so they do have time to kind of a couple days to rest and to figure it out and put together a better game plan. Hopefully, LeBron is more rested and he can play well, because honestly, he didn't play good at all. Even though he hit the game winner, but we'll get to that. But even with that, like, he didn't play particularly well throughout. So but I'm not concerned about him. Like I said, so until LeBron loses, that's when I become concerned. I don't overreact. I'm not a prisoner of the moment. So as of right now, I'm not about to like lose my mind because we lost, or not because we lost, but that he kind of looked like he lost a step to certain people. But to me, like I said, he's coming back from an ankle injury. He's an older guy, so it's going to take him a little bit longer. He as superhuman as he is, he's not immune to everything. Like at some point, there's gonna be breakdowns. But like I said, until he loses or they lose, I'm not gonna super go crazy or be super concerned. What I'll say is that we do have to cherish these LeBron and Steph matchups as much as we possibly can, because we don't know how many more we're gonna get at a high level for both of them. And not even on Steph's end, because Steph is obviously younger than Bron, so he's got his prime. He's like still in his prime age, prime basketball age. So and he's a shooter, so that's also he doesn't have as much wear and tear on his body, so he's got a longer time in the NBA than LeBron. I'll put it that way. But we have to appreciate these moments. We have to appreciate these matchups. We have to take full advantage of seeing them both compete and play at a high level because they are the top of the top, best of the best outside of like KD, obviously, but it's the matchup that everybody wants to see. So it's like seeing Kobe and AI go at it, or seeing Kobe and Tracy McGrady go at it. Like it's kind of the equivalent of that. So we have to take these moments and really just really cherish the fact that we get to see these two greats go at it and pull the best out of each other every single time. Excuse me a second, my thing messed up. I want to also take this time to shed some light on Draymond Green. Draymond Green to me is I think I've alluded to this before, but I'm gonna just say it one more time just because I feel like it's necessary, especially after last night. He is not appreciated enough, in my opinion, especially as a defender. Draymond is one of the best defenders that I've ever seen. Now, the best defender ever he was talking crazy when he said that, but one of the best, absolutely. Like the defensive clinic that he put on last night solidified that for me, and I think, like I said, people have to start giving him more respect when it comes to the Warriors' success because a lot of that is predicated on what he does. Steph doesn't get the same shots without Draymond taking the brunt of the defensive responsibility and also being able to push the point and make good decisions and make good passes and get rebounds and get offensive rebounds and understand the flow of the game to know that Steph Curry moves great without the basketball. So, once he passes it, look for him again because he's more than likely, more times than not, going to be open. Like, those are very underrated skills for a guy who's undersized for his position. So there has to be a point where we start to give him his flowers because I know he talks a lot and a lot of times the stuff he says is nonsense. Let's keep it real. He's brilliant. Like he's brilliant, but he isn't. Like he has smart moments, but then there's other times where it's just like, all right, bro, like you're just talking to talk. But as a basketball player, as far as basketball IQ, it doesn't get too much better than Draymond Green. Like he's very intelligent and very skilled and he's just great at what he does best. Like he just has perfected those certain specific skills. Like he's not a relatively great shooter or a great scorer, I should say, but he can score when he needs to. He's, like I said, he's undersized for his position, but he knows how to get in there and fight for rebounds. He knows how to contest. He knows how to play defense on the best player. He knows how to clog the paint. He knows how to run an offense. He knows how to run the fast break. He knows, like, there's so many things that are underrated skills for basketball players that Draymond has in one body, like in one person, one player. And there's other players that are way more athletic than him, way more talented than him, but they're not as smart, so they don't survive or make it as long as he has. So shout out to him just for being a smart basketball player and for putting on a defensive clinic last night, especially against an offensive talent like Anthony Davis. This is hilarious. I'll get to that in a moment. But so what's next for the Warriors? What's next for the Warriors is they are in the playoff. They're in the play-in elimination. I don't know how they're classifying that, but they're basically, long story short, they have to play Memphis to get the final 8 spot in the playoffs. I think they win that game. If they lose, I won't be surprised because Steph Curry might be, but look at that, just the GOAT, like just great. Anyway, let me focus. I think they win that game. Like I said, I can also see them losing that game too. I think Steph could possibly be burnt out, being that he's been averaging 40 for the last couple of months. So they could Memphis could, if they're smart enough, they could play to that. But I mean, we'll see. And also, this is Stephen Curry we're talking about. Like, you can't count him out of anything until he loses. So, but I think I see the Warriors winning, which would be interesting, being that they will be in the 8th spot and they will match up against the Utah Jazz. That means we get to see Steph versus Donovan Mitchell, which I would be really excited to see that because, I mean, you got two of the top guards in the league going at it. Utah's got a great team. The Warriors aren't a great team, but they're good enough to compete and make it interesting. So we'll see what happens with that. But I'm interested to see because I don't see the Warriors they're not gonna go to the finals. Like they're not gonna go to the finals. But I'm interested to see once this season, their season is over, like what kind of moves that they make, because it's evident they're gonna have to make some changes for that team. I know everybody's like, oh, when Clay comes back, it's gonna be him and Clay aren't enough anymore. They were at that time because the West wasn't as loaded and it didn't have as much talent at that time. I mean, they had talent, but it wasn't as loaded. Everybody wasn't hadn't caught up to their system and how that they play and what they do and the whole Warrior structure. But now there's been years in between their last championship and now, and people have kind of caught on to what they do, and they are doing the same thing, and they have the players and the talent to compete now. So him and Clay and Dre aren't going to be enough. Like they're going to have to make some moves to solidify them as an actual contending team to be, a team that can go to the Western Conference Finals or potentially the finals. So I'm interested to see what kind of off-season moves that they make to get back in the running. So, we'll see. I don't really know how it's gonna crumble just yet. But once they make moves, I'll be definitely here to report on it. But yeah, man, I'm interested to see what's gonna happen with that. The NBA is in a really, really good place right now as far as just teams in general. Like everybody's getting better and making it more competitive, which I love. Like when people say the NBA isn't competitive, they don't watch it because it's not competitive. Like that, to me, you don't really watch the NBA, because if you did, you would see like there's everybody has a fighter's chance at this point. Like it's not a short shot just because you have a team with two superstars. Which that's the formula. That seems what the formula is supposedly now to win or to be considered a winner, but that's not a guarantee anymore. And teams don't go into these games fearing those teams anymore either. So that's what makes it a lot more interesting as well. So we'll see what happens though. And before we get up out of here, I want to comment on what's been going crazy on social media lately, which is Kwame Brown. No, you haven't heard that name in a while. But recently he's been a little bit of everywhere, all over ESPN, FS1. Like if anywhere that you receive NBA news, you've heard something about Kwame Brown this week. Just to catch the people up who maybe not know what the situation is, basically in so many words, Steven Jackson and Matt Barnes have a podcast called All the Smoke, and they had Jeannie Buss on there and Gilbert Arenas. In the Jeannie Buss interview, she spoke about the trade that they made for Kwame to go to, I believe, the Memphis Grizzlies for Paul Gasol. Steven Jackson made a comment like it was there was a couple players that were involved in that trade, and he made a comment alluding to like it was a one-man trade, basically like, excluding Kwame Brown, like he don't count in so many words. And then following that, Gilbert Arenas was on the show, and he spoke about Kwame Brown, and they didn't really say anything like too vindictive or too like out of power. They kind of snickered and laughed and kind of had a little joke, like inside joke moment, but it wasn't anything compared to what people have said about Kwame Brown in the past. Like, he's gotten, people have said wait, where like Kobe has literally said like he was terrified on the court and he couldn't play. So it's like, it wasn't that bad, but that's besides the point. So Kwame got wind of this, and he has been going on social media crazy. Like I said, I hadn't heard Kwame Brown in a while. I knew he still was alive, obviously, but I thought he was just one of those fell off the face of the earth because he was a number one pick and was a bust by NBA expectations, that he was just somewhere on the farm chilling or something. Like I didn't really know the status of Kwame Brown, but guess not. And I guess he has been in touch with what's going on and saw the interviews and was not happy, and he has been going, like I said, social media crazy. He's been calling Matt Barnes out, Becky with the good hair. He's called Steven Jackson a fake thug and a fake activist, and he even went at Stephen A. Smith, which, for those who know, Stephen A. had the epic Kwame Brown rant some years ago, calling him a bona fide scrub. No disrespect, but he can't play, which that's crazy to say, no disrespect, and then to say that literally the next following sentence, because that's all disrespect. But here's what I think about this situation. It's in its totality. I understand Kwame feeling away, because Kwame has been in the butt of jokes as far as NBA jokes for since he's been out of the league, like for a long, even when he was in the league, like for a very long time. So I can understand finally reaching the point of being fed up and being like, you know what, other people may say something about me, but I'm not gonna let you do it. Also, I believe it was Shannon Sharp that brought up this point, and it was actually a very good point. Is that coming into the league, Kwame was 18 years old, right, fresh out of high school, and the first thing that he played for was a team with Michael Jordan. If you watch The Last Dance, like I watched The Last Dance, which is the documentary about Michael Jordan, you know he wasn't the easiest guy to play with, and that's coming from players that are actually really talented players. Like these are coming from fellow champions that got championships with him, that were way more skilled and knew how to put it together better than Kwame Brown. No disrespect, bro, but let's call it what it is. So, and these are players that were saying that he was very tough to play with. So imagine being an 18-year-old teenager coming out of high school, playing with and playing for your idol, just for him to be the asshole that we know Michael Jordan to be, in so many words. There's no nicer way to put it. Michael Jordan has been, always will be an asshole when it comes to playing basketball. He's competitive like we've never seen. The reason why he's revered the way he's revered is because of his competitiveness. We know this. And like I said, when it comes to communicating with people or anything involving the game as far as trash talk or just talk in general, he's not the nicest guy in the world. So imagine being an 18-year-old kid. You have all this pressure on you. You're the first player out of high school to go number one. You're playing with Michael Jordan. End up playing for him once Michael Jordan becomes the owner of the Washington Wizards, and he's literally berating you and belittling you every single day in front of all of your teammates, in front of anybody who will listen. That would be hard for anybody. Not everybody's that mentally tough, and we have to understand that, and that's okay. Like not everybody's Kobe. I'll put it that way. Like Kobe would have loved that. Like he would have thrived in that, but not everybody has the mental capacity to deal with that. So imagine you go from that to you go from 1A to 1B in Kobe, and you go play with Kobe. And we all know, again, we all love Kobe because of his competitiveness, and we all know Kobe was not the easiest person to play with. This is also coming from teammates who are fellow champions with him as well, and are better players than Kwame Brown. And they even would tell you it was hard playing for him because he would be on you nonstop. So imagine going from one to the next. By the time that's a wrap, mentally you're gone. Your confidence is shot. It's a wrap. And to quote that with, you're not really that good. So it's like that had to be. I can only imagine how tough that had to be for him. So I feel for him in that respect. But at the same time, you can't. As much as I understand him being upset, it's kind of one of those things where you just kind of have to laugh that off and let it go, because even in the midst of his rant, what people missed, which was to me was an important gem of what he said, was that he was able to buy his mom a house and retire his mom. That's success for me. Like, okay, cool. I wasn't the best NBA player in the world. I'm not an all-time great. I'm a bust. Fine. I still have money. I'm still able to take care of my family. I'm still able to take care of my mother. What you consider as a bust doesn't matter to me. Like, cool, fine. All right. I didn't live up to expectations, sure. But in real life, I'm still a success. So what you have to say about me doesn't matter. Like, for what? Like, what? I don't need to respond to that. As long as I'm still a millionaire and I'm still able to, feed my family and do what it is that I need to do in the real world, who cares about you two up here laughing and snickering? They high. Like, the podcast is called All the Smoke. Like, these niggas is high. They gonna laugh at anything. So, like, what, you know what I'm saying? What does it matter? And, like, him responding to Stephen A. Smith now is, like, come on, bro. You should have did that 12 years ago. Like, this was you had plenty of opportunities to run into Stephen A. Smith and say what you had to say to him. So, if you didn't do it then, don't do it. Like, what's the point of doing it now? What's the point of doing it now? We all know, you know what I'm saying? Like, what kind of rank do you get off of calling Stephen A. Smith's bluff or not calling him not to? Like, Stephen A. ain't never fought. Like, come on, like, this is Stephen A. Smith. We all know that he's a loudmouth, obnoxious, has his opinions, very strong-minded, gonna throw a bunch of big words at you. That's his. That's the end all be all when it comes to Stephen A. Smith. It's nothing more. It's nothing less. That's just what he's gonna do. So it's for what? Like I don't know. I don't get being so adamant about responding now when, like I said, you've been the butt of jokes for years. And like I said, it was to the point where I didn't even know what Kwame Brown was up to. Like I said, I thought he was on a farm somewhere chilling. But on the flip side of that, I do understand because we are now in the social media era. So now he could take full advantage of all these TV shows and Instagram and Twitter and whatever else. Like, I mean, he can take it TikTok. Like, he can do so. There's so much he can do, and there's a lane for people like Kwame Brown, and I think he realizes that. And the fact that people are paying attention to him and feeding into everything that he's saying and hanging on every word of his and talking about how funny he is, and like, I mean, he's getting all the attention he's ever wanted. He's getting it right now. Just the more he speaks, the better it is for his long-term brand. So if that's your goal, then, bro, you've done that. You've done that times 10, because I already know that there's people knocking at your door waiting for you to give a full interview about a whole synopsis of your career, what's been going on since. I mean, like, there's so many things you can talk to Kwame Brown about at this particular point. So if, like I said, if that's your goal, then hey, respect, I salute it, because he's gonna be able to see a nice bag from all of this, if that is the end game here. If not, if you just responding just to get social media attention, and like, come on, bro, like, come on, dog, grow up. Like, if you ain't gonna get no bag out of doing all of this, come on, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? I don't know. Like I said, I see both sides of it. I understand his frustration. I just don't. I don't know. I don't think if I was him, I wouldn't have responded that way. I guess is more so what I'm trying to say. Like, I wouldn't have cared that much to like be like calling fades, and I mean, just getting into people's personal, like he's gotten personal. So it's like, I don't think I would have taken it that far. Like, if anything, if I had a response, that's if I had a response. Because personally, me, if I'm still a millionaire, look, bro, I'm gonna be in my mansion chilling. Y'all do what y'all do. But if I had a response, it'd be a simple, like, I just said, I'm still successful in life. I still was able to take care of my mother. What you think about me is cool. I'm a success in the real world. Y'all can have the accolades for the NBA and all that. Y'all got that. And I would have left it at that. But I think there's more to it as to why he's responding the way that he is, myself personally. And I see him end up getting some kind of show or podcast deal or something out of all this, honestly. And I think that's what his primary goal was in all of this. And like I said, if that is indeed the case, then, hey, bro, you did it. Hats off to you, bro. I can't say anything else. You did it. But I do also want to remind people that everybody that's laughing at him and, giving him all this attention, and granted, it is funny. I'm not going to lie. I watched a couple of his interview videos and found myself laughing myself. So I don't, this ain't me criticizing anybody, but I just want everybody to keep in mind that this is also a man who, I just recently learned this yesterday, that blamed Breonna Taylor for her own death. Do with that what you will. Because I'm all for black people as a whole winning and getting to a bag by any means. I've never judged anybody's hustle or the way that they feed their family. Do what you do. But once you go against the grain in that way, especially in that way, like, I mean, in that, like, once you do that, once you step on that other side and it become one of them all skin folk ain't kinfolk, I can't mess with you. So, I mean, I'm not going to be supporting Kwame Brown going forward. That's just me personally. But that's enough on that situation. I think I executed my point as much as I possibly could. If y'all have any thoughts or comments on the whole situation, let me know. I'm more than open to have an open discussion about that. And yeah, that concludes another episode of From the Ground Up. Thank y'all again for supporting and showing love, and keep it up, because like I said, I got more episodes coming as the days go on. We are in the thick of the playoffs, so I'm gonna be hitting y'all with a lot more episodes. So y'all be on the lookout and be ready, man. And like I said, keep supporting, keep subscribing, showing love. Make sure y'all check out the latest episode that I just did. Shout out to Diane Ross for that. Super dope interview. Shout out to the interview before that. Shout out to Tara Burns. That's also a super dope interview. If you haven't had the chance, make sure you go take a look at that as well. What else is there? And all the other videos. If all the YouTube, subscribe to the YouTube. I'm trying to get everybody. My goal is to be able to just post the episode on YouTube alone and just have everybody kind of follow that, because I want to gain my more YouTube streams and follows and things of that nature. So that's the end game here. So make sure, if you haven't already, subscribe to the page, show love to the YouTube page. It's From the Ground Up. You may have to type basketball or something to look it up, because for whatever reason, From the Ground Up sometimes alone just doesn't work. So just type basketball, NBA or something. That's why I hashtag a lot of the videos that I post, so it makes it easier for people to find. So make sure y'all do that. Love and light, and I'm out.